Stop scrolling. This might be the message God wants you to hear today. Sometimes life feels like a long waiting season where nothing seems to change no matter how hard you try or how deeply you pray. And in those moments it becomes very easy to feel lost, confused, and even forgotten. Because when your prayers are not answered immediately, your mind starts creating doubts that were never there before. You begin to question your path, your purpose, and even your faith. But what you need to understand is that just because you cannot see movement does not mean there is no movement. God is always working behind the scenes in ways that are far beyond human understanding. He is aligning people, situations, and timing perfectly for your life. And even when everything feels silent, heaven is still active on your behalf. The problem is not that God is not working. The problem is that we often expect visible results too quickly. We want instant answers, instant success, and instant change. But God is not a God of shortcuts. He is a God of process, and process takes time. Just like a seed planted in the ground does not grow overnight, your life also requires time to develop into something meaningful. And during that unseen phase, when nothing appears to be happening, that is actually when the most important work is being done. Your roots are growing deeper, your strength is increasing, and your character is being shaped. Because if everything came to you instantly, you would not be ready to handle it. And sometimes God delays things not because He wants to deny you, but because He wants to prepare you. He sees the bigger picture that you cannot see. He knows what will happen tomorrow, next week, and next year. And He is making decisions today based on what is best for your future, not just your present feelings. So when something does not work out, when a door closes, or when a plan fails, it is not always rejection. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes God is saving you from a situation that would have caused you pain later. And although it may hurt right now, one day you will look back and realize that what you thought was a setback was actually a setup for something better. There are moments in life when you feel like you are falling behind, when you see others moving forward, achieving their goals, and living the life you desire, and you begin to compare your journey with theirs. But comparison is one of the biggest distractions from your purpose, because everyone's journey is different, everyone's timing is different, and what is meant for you will come to you at the right time, not early and not late, exactly when you are ready for it. God does not rush, He does not panic, and He does not make mistakes. Everything He does is intentional and perfectly planned, even when it does not make sense to you, and that is where faith becomes important. Faith is not about understanding everything. Faith is about trusting God, even when you do not understand anything. It is about believing that He's working even when you cannot see it. It is about holding on when everything inside you wants to give up. Because the truth is that some of the greatest blessings in life come after the hardest seasons. And the waiting period is not there to punish you. It is there to prepare you. It is teaching you patience, building your resilience, and strengthening your connection with God. And even though waiting can be frustrating, it is also necessary, because without preparation, success would destroy you instead of elevating you. There are times when you feel emotionally exhausted, when you are tired of being strong, tired of pretending that everything is okay, and tired of explaining your struggles to people who do not understand. And in those moments, you may feel completely alone, but you are not alone. God sees everything. He sees every tear you cry in private. He hears every silent prayer you whisper, and He knows every fear that you try to hide from the world. nothing about your life goes unnoticed. And just because people do not see your struggle does not mean God does not see it. He is closer to you than you think, especially in your weakest moments, because God does not only show up when you are strong. He shows up when you are broken, when you are tired, and when you feel like you cannot continue anymore. That is when His strength becomes your strength. And even though you may not feel it immediately, He is carrying you through situations that you would not be able to handle on your own. Sometimes God allows challenges in your life not to break you, but to reveal the strength that is already inside you. Because you are stronger than you think. You have survived things in the past that you once believed would destroy you, and that alone is proof that God has been with you all along, guiding you, protecting you, and giving you the strength to keep going, even when you felt like giving up. And if He has brought you this far, He is not going to leave you now. Your story is not over yet. What you are going through right now is just a chapter, not the entire book. And no matter how difficult this chapter may feel, it is not the end. God is still writing your story, and the best parts are still ahead of you. So do not lose hope, do not give up, and do not let temporary struggles make you forget about God's promises, because everything you are experiencing right now has a purpose. Even the pain, even the confusion, and even the delays. One day it will all make sense. One day you will look back at this moment and realize that God was guiding you the entire time, even when you thought you were lost. So trust Him, trust His timing, trust His plan, and keep moving forward with faith, because what He has prepared for you is far greater than anything you have lost. And when the right moment comes, everything will fall into place in a way that you could have never imagined. There are moments in life when everything feels uncertain, when the path ahead is not clear, and the direction you once believed in starts to fade. And in those moments, your heart begins to feel heavy because you are trying to hold on to faith while everything around you feels unstable. You wake up with questions and go to sleep with the same unanswered thoughts, wondering when things will finally change, wondering when your prayers will be answered, and sometimes you may even feel like giving up. Not because you want to, but because you are tired of waiting, tired of hoping, and tired of feeling like nothing is moving. But what you need to understand is that God does some of His greatest work in the waiting season. Because waiting is not just about time passing, it is about transformation happening within you. It is about God preparing your heart, your mind, and your spirit for what is coming next. Because if God gave you everything you asked for right now, without preparing you first, it could overwhelm you instead of blessing you. And that is why delays are often a sign of God's care, not His absence. He is making sure that when the blessing arrives, you are ready to receive it, to handle it, and to keep it. There are also times when you feel like your prayers are being ignored, when you speak to God but hear nothing in return. And that silence can feel painful because it makes you question if anyone is listening at all. But God's silence is not rejection. It is often protection or preparation. Sometimes He is working on things that you cannot see yet, and sometimes He is waiting for the perfect timing that aligns with your future. Not just your current situation, and even though it is difficult. Learning to trust God in silence is one of the strongest forms of faith, because it means you are choosing to believe without needing constant confirmation. And that kind of faith builds a deeper connection with God, one that is not dependent on visible results but rooted in trust. And as you continue this journey, you will start to realize that every challenge you face is shaping you into a stronger version of yourself. Every disappointment is teaching you something valuable, and every delay is positioning you for something greater, because nothing in your life is wasted. Every moment has meaning, even the ones that feel painful or confusing. God is using all of it to create a story that will one day inspire others. And even though you may not understand it now, one day you will look back and see how everything connected perfectly, how every struggle had a purpose, and how every waiting season led you to something better. So instead of focusing on what is not happening, focus on what God is doing within you. Focus on your growth, your strength, and your faith, because those are the things that will carry you forward. And remember that you are not alone in this journey. God is with you every step of the way. Even when you do not feel His presence, He is guiding you, protecting you, and leading you toward the life that is meant for you. Imagine a person walking through a dark tunnel, unable to see what lies ahead, unsure of how long the journey will take, and feeling a mix of fear and hope at the same time. Every step feels uncertain because there is no clear light to guide the way. And sometimes the person may feel like turning back, thinking that staying in the same place might be easier than moving forward into the unknown. But what they do not realize is that the tunnel is not endless. There is an exit. There is light waiting at the end, and every step they take, even in darkness, is bringing them closer to that light. This is exactly how life can feel sometimes, like you are walking through a tunnel with no clear direction, but just because you cannot see the light yet does not mean it is not there. God is leading you through the tunnel, even when you cannot see Him, and every step of faith you take is bringing you closer to your breakthrough. And just like the tunnel has a purpose to lead you from one place to another, your current situation also has a purpose. It is taking you from where you are to where you are meant to be. And even though it may feel uncomfortable or even painful, it is necessary for your growth, because without challenges there would be no progress, and without darkness you would not appreciate the light. There are also moments when you may feel like you have lost something important, a relationship, an opportunity, or a dream that you held close to your heart, and that loss can feel overwhelming because it leaves a space that seems impossible to fill. But what you need to understand is that sometimes God removes things from your life to make room for something better, something that aligns with your purpose and your future. And even though it hurts in the moment, it is part of a bigger plan that you cannot fully see yet. And as time passes, you will begin to see how those losses were actually redirections, guiding you toward a path that is more suitable for you, a path that leads to growth, fulfillment, and peace. And even though the journey may not be easy, it will be worth it, because at the end of it, you will become a stronger, wiser, and more faithful person, someone who understands the value of patience, the power of trust, and the importance of believing in God's plan, even when it does not make sense. There comes a point in your life where you realize that you cannot control everything. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much you plan, there will always be situations that are beyond your control, and learning to let go of that need for control is one of the hardest but most important lessons you will ever learn. Because true peace comes from trusting God, not from trying to manage everything on your own. And when you finally surrender your worries, your fears, and your plans to Him, you begin to feel a sense of calm that you cannot explain, because you know that no matter what happens, God is in control, and that realization changes everything. It changes the way you see your problems. It changes the way you handle challenges, and it changes the way you approach life. Because instead of living in fear, you start living in faith. Instead of worrying about the future, you start trusting the process. And even though difficulties may still come, you face them with a different mindset. A mindset that is rooted in trust and confidence in God's plan. And that is what makes the difference. Because life will always have challenges, but your perspective determines how you experience them. And when your perspective is guided by faith, even the hardest situations become opportunities for growth. Opportunities to strengthen your relationship with God, and opportunities to discover the strength within yourself. And as you continue to grow, you will start to see how far you have come, how much you have changed, and how much stronger you have become. And that realization will give you the courage to keep moving forward, no matter what comes your way. So, as you reach this point in your journey, take a moment to reflect on everything you have been through, every challenge you have faced, every tear you have cried, and every moment where you felt like giving up but chose to keep going anyway. Because those moments are proof of your strength. They are proof that God has been with you all along, guiding you, protecting you, and helping you become the person you are today. And even though you may still have unanswered questions, even though you may still be waiting for certain things to happen, trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust that God is working behind the scenes, even when you cannot see it. And trust that your future is filled with hope, purpose, and blessings that are worth the wait. And as you move forward, carry this faith with you. Let it guide your decisions. So don't give up now. Don't quit in the middle of the process. You are closer than you think. And if this message touched your heart, comment, "I trust God." Like this video, share it with someone who needs this today. And don't forget to subscribe, because your next message might be exactly what you need. God bless you.